Hey, folks, coming up on Roland Martin Unfiltered for Thursday, May 9th, 2019. Florida passes a bill allowing teachers to be armed in the classroom. Isn't the focus about teaching students, not about teaching them how to shoot? We'll talk to a state legislator there who says this is a horrible idea. Also, a disturbing video out of Oklahoma. Hugo, Oklahoma police opened fire on a car. Folks, 96 shots. They shot 3 children, all 3 in the head. We'll tell you the latest on this story. It is a stunning story, virtually getting no attention. Yesterday, we showed you about the black woman in Billings, Montana, who was not taking any stuff from cops. She teaches a master class on how to deal with cops who come into your house uninvited. We have her right here on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Oh, I can't wait to have a conversation with her. Also, what the hell is wrong with Delta Airlines? They put out a poster that says, don't join the union and go buy a gaming console. We'll have that, break it down in our American Worker segment brought to you by AFS-CME. And also, a couple of crazy-ass white folks got fired. Oh, yeah. One for comparing that royal baby to a chimp. And then we'll tell you about it. Just again, crazy white folks doing what they do. Now, it's a couple of job openings. All right, folks, it's time to bring the funk. And Roland Martin Unfiltered. Let's go.
He's got it. Whatever the biz, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the find. And when it breaks, he's right on time and it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling. It's on go, y'all. It's Roland Martin, rolling with Roland now. He's funk, he's fresh, he's real, the best, you know he's Roland Martin now. Martin.
After a 2-day debate, Florida's House of Representatives, they have passed a bill that will permit teachers to carry guns in the classroom. It's already been approved by the Senate, and Governor Ron DeSantis signed it on Wednesday. All teachers are eligible to have a gun, even if they have a non-classroom role. Folks are saying this is one of the stupidest ideas. This is Donald Trump's way of saying that teachers should be able to defend themselves in the case of school shootings. Of course, he threw this idea out there. The NRA loved the idea. But State Representative Chevron Jones, a Democrat out of Florida, says it's pretty much an idiotic idea. Jones is right now on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Representative Jones, again, what was the logic of Republicans in the Florida legislature who thought that this somehow was a good idea?
Good evening, Roland. It's good to be back on the show once again. But I don't know what the logic was behind it, considering the fact that last year, when the legislation was proposed, it was only proposed as an idea for non-instructional staff to carry weapons. And there was an option for districts to buy into it. This year, they moved and said that they want to allow teachers to be able to do it. Now, but mind you, there's no logic behind it. Donald Trump made it clear that this is something that was a good idea. Betsy DeVos said that this was something that was a good idea. But the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas Commission last year said that it was a bad idea. And then this year, they changed the idea of it when the chair of the committee, who is the chair of the Sheriff's Association, said that it was a good idea. But he had to convince the commission that it was a good idea. But Fred Gittenberg, who lost his daughter in Parkland, still opposed it on the committee to say that this wasn't a good idea to do it. And so this is the direction that they've gone in. Governor DeSantis has signed the bill as of yesterday, and here we are.
All right, so what are the parameters? Are teachers literally allowed to have a gun holstered on their body walking around a classroom?
So the first thing is that it's an option for the districts to actually sign into. That's one. But the second thing is we asked the question. There was a series of questions that came forth on the floor. The question was, does the gun have to be in a box? The bill sponsor's response was, it's up to the district. we did ask the question, well, does the what happens when the teacher needs to go out and to apprehend the active shooter? Does he or she leave the students and go out to apprehend the active shooter, or do she stay in the classroom? Her response was, it's up to the student. They gave no clear rules, no clear parameters of anything. Everything that they gave was, it's up to the district, allow the districts to create what the parameters look like with House Bill 7093.
So you could literally have all kind of different rules where one district could say teachers can walk around in guns. Another one could say, hey, it has to be in a locked box. Another one could say that it could be on a shelf. That's sort of like idiotic that you would pass such a law and then just say, hey, districts, up to you. Now, here's the other deal.
Yeah.
Could the districts also say no guns?
Yes. So so you have like Broward County and Miami-Dade County. Those districts have said that that they're not allowing teachers that have guns. They have given options. But Roland, but I would have everyone to know this, that they have tied the dollars of whether or not you join into the Guardian program with whether you get school safety dollars. And that's what their plan was for last year. So the plan was either you sign into this deal of this option of the Guardian program, or you don't get any school safety dollars. And so it's a lose-lose situation that has come about within the state of Florida. And we fought like hell. I kid you not. The Democrats fought like hell. And I commend my colleagues for how we did on the floor to ask all the questions to let them see that what you're proposing is not only dangerous, it's a dangerous experiment.
All right, Representative Jones, we appreciate it. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
All right, folks, so let's go to our panel here. Joining us in studio is Malik Abdul, Vice President, Black Conservative Federation. We have, of course, Dr. Greg Carr, Chair, Department of Afro-American Studies, Howard University, and Dr. Cleo Monago, Socio-Political Analyst and Activist. Malik, you're Republican. Good idea, bad idea?
Well, I think I'm not totally opposed to it. What concerned me is the inconsistency in how and what you discussed as far as the parameters of it. I think that it's a good idea to have districts be able to decide, some of those things, but I can't imagine any district. It was good to hear, for instance, like Miami-Dade County, Broward County, they opted out of it, but then the other problem is, of course, as the representative said, is that being tied to dollars.
So you think it's fine that teachers should be armed in classrooms?
Yeah, as someone who supports the Second Amendment, I do, and probably most of us do, I don't have the same view of people with guns. Like I know members of my family, I know grew up with concealed carry, even in my community. So I'm not afraid of the idea that a gun may be in a place, any specific place, and I do believe that most gun owners are definitely responsible.
Yeah, but here's the deal, though, Greg. Bottom line is, look, you're a professor. I've been an adjunct professor. I can't think about walking around a classroom with a gun on my hip. What happens if that gun discharges? Even if, okay, folks, the odds of that being low, we have numerous stories where those things have actually happened. And so then how do you explain that to a family of a child gets shot or killed accidentally because a gun goes off in a classroom?
You don't. In fact, one of the things the legislature would not include was a Democratic amendment to have some training about bias. I mean, teachers are just as racist as anyone else.
That's right.
But I mean, there are two separate issues here, I think. One, of course, is the gun issue, and there's no legitimate intellectual defense for the Second Amendment historically. It was passed at a time in this nation's history when they didn't have an army. It was about a wartime militia. It had nothing to do with this foolishness we're talking about now. So on the substantive issue, it's really indefensible. But the other issue is the slice and dice nature of this extreme right-wing white nationalist movement in the GOP to try to remake the electoral map. Of course, you've got two illegitimate governors, one in Florida, DeSantis, and the other in Georgia, Kemp, passing these extremely divisive things, this heartbeat bill, and now this gun legislation. And there are 8 other states that allow non-security personnel to allow guns in school by school employees. But more importantly, by leaving it to the districts, what you're doing is trying to slice and dice up Florida. The district that Marjorie Douglas is in said they're not going to allow it, but then the next door district may allow it. What are you trying to do? You're trying to dismantle any notion of a cohesive state logic in advance of these continuing campaigns to retain GOP control at the state level.
Cleo.
Well, my concern is who's going to protect the children. Because, for example, all these people who get to have guns tend to be shooting at black boys and black men. I'm concerned about that. I also want to ask the brother who was just on if there are going to be background checks for teachers who get to have these guns. Because there are some kind of background checks, but not necessarily around having guns. So that's going to be part of this legislation. And I was wondering, another concern is that guns have a impact on black boys in terms of a stress. It increases stress. It increases anxiety, which can impact the capacity to sustain learning and concentrate in class. Some of these accusations around black men's or black boys' capacity to concentrate and study in classrooms has to do with unresolved or unaddressed trauma by living in society and not having any clear analysis of where they live, and they just are confused, and it impacts their capacity to focus. Plus, the curriculum doesn't affirm them. So you're going to do that with guns? I'm real concerned about this mix.
The job of a teacher, you're trying to educate.
Yeah.
And so now part of your deal is literally, I got a gun in the classroom?
Yeah, I don't think. And
What happens? Let's take it further. What happens if there's a teacher, if a district allows the teachers to actually walk around with a gun on their hip? What happens if a teacher gets attacked by a student and they get control of the gun?
Yeah, I wouldn't be supportive of that at all. I know
what?
Of the idea of them actually open carry in a school. I wouldn't be supportive of that at all.
So, but here's the point though. If the whole point is there's a school shooting, you want teachers to be armed. If the gun is locked up in a box, let's say on the shelf, a shooting takes place in the classroom, they can't get to the box.
Well, not particularly. If we're talking about something like concealed carry, you don't have to worry about the gun actually being exposed. But I do think that we should be careful when talking about actually teachers, because we shouldn't assume that teachers are, so unstable, and you meet the instability of a teacher versus along with the idea of them being a responsible donor.
There are studies that prove.
But I'm trying to understand why. Because if you already have high concentrations of black kids being suspended, if you have example of the black girl in South Carolina when the resource officer came in and body slammed her in the desk, again, you don't know. I mean, I can show you some other videos where teachers have gone off, substitute teachers have gone off on students. Things can escalate very quickly.
Absolutely.
You now are putting a gun in a classroom. You don't know what happens. What you do know right now is that knowing there's not a gun in the classroom can lead to somebody not getting shot.
Well, watch this, bro. Let's look at it this way. And like I say, you're a teacher, I'm a teacher. We classroom teachers around this country watching this. Which one of our colleagues would we want to have a pistol, a gun, a weapon, or which one of us would want that? Now, conversely, let's go to the other side. We all know who the first people are going to be to sign up for this. This is the people Dr. Minago is talking about. I don't have to body slam her anymore. I can just wear my pistol concealed carry to work. This will attract the same, absolutely.
Yeah,
the same type of people who are attracted to law enforcement, who are in the classroom, who probably should not be in the classroom, going to be the first one to sign up.
Cleo, go ahead.
You kind of address what I was going to address anyway, which is that, I'll just go to the scientific piece. There are scientific studies that show that black children are punished excessively, overpunished, and you already mentioned the YouTube and all the videos, and I'm concerned about being overshot now by the kind of people that Dr. Carr just described. Because the same kind of people who like to have guns that accidentally shoot black adults can accidentally shoot black children.
Yeah, but I don't think we're not with
but
the
it
teacher,
happens.
though. I don't think we should make that assumption.
Let me tell you, as a teacher,
I don't think we should make that assumptions about teachers.
Malik,
so
there's evidence on YouTube of law enforcement in the class and teachers in the class over punishing black children.
Absolutely, but
to
the
the point of
is to
physical
stop
abuse.
someone from shooting up the school, not to deal
But
with.
it's legally sanctioned to have a gun now.
What I'm saying is
and black people are
not every teacher is going to actually carry a gun.
Right? They feel like they feel threatened. Remember?
Leo, final comment. Sorry, a great final comment.
I was going to say very quickly, the teachers I know, the ones who I value the most in my years working for schools in Philadelphia, working for Teaching for Change, all the K-12 teachers I know, the ones who are least likely to carry the gun are the best teachers. And the ones who most likely to carry the gun are the worst teachers, brother.
That's true. A good teacher don't need no gun.
No question.
All right. Well, bottom line is we'll see what happens in Florida. School districts do the right thing and say, hell no guns in these classrooms. Now, speaking of guns, 2 Hugo, Oklahoma police officers opened fire on a car with 4 children in the back seat. The cops claim they started shooting because the driver was attempting to run them over with his truck. Yeah, does the video show that? 3 of the 4 children were shot. The 4-year-old daughter was shot in the head and has a bullet in her brain. The 5-year-old has a skull fracture, and the 1-year-old baby has gunshot wounds on her face. This is a story that was done by Channel 4 KFOR out of Oklahoma. I want to go ahead and play this video for you. So check this out.
Another officer-involved shooting.
Yeah, this time 3 children were hit by bullets.
4-year-old daughter was shot in the head and she has a bullet in her brain, and my 2-year-old wasn't touched with any bullets.
We told you about this as breaking news Friday at 6, and police say they were after a man inside a car there. They believe he'd robbed a pizza shop in Hugo, and that's where News 4's Emily Akins is tonight with the latest on this investigation.
Tonight, people in Hugo coming out to support a family they say was involved in an officer-involved shooting. The father of the kids involved speaking out, telling us he's devastated.
It's kind of hard to tell a 5 or 4 and a 1-year-old that they were shot by the people who were supposed to protect them.
A father begging for answers after he says 3 of his children were injured in an officer-involved shooting.
These are my kids. If I can't speak up for my kids, then nobody will.
OSBI agents, along with the Hugo Police Department, were searching for William Smith, who was wanted in connection with an armed robbery at a Pizza Hut. OSBI says he was parked at a food center in Hugo, and at some point when officers found him, shots were fired. 4 kids were in the car at the time, 3 of them hurt.
A little girl and a little boy that young to be shot in the head and to still be able to get up and walk around and laugh and play with you and like it never really happened, but we know it happened.
Protesters say they will not give up until they get the answers they feel they deserve.
We're tired of seeing situations happen like this across the country, and we wanted answers.
This is a major problem right here. This is not something that I won't let die down. I don't care if I'm 62 years old still trying to do this.
In Hugo, Emily Akins, Oklahoma's News 4.
And state agents say the children's mother was in a relationship with Smith. Prosecutors tell us the Hugo mayor and city manager told them they will work together to figure out why this happened.
All right, folks, joining us right now is DeMario Solomon Simmons, civil rights attorney and lawyer for the family there. DeMario, okay, I'm just trying to understand. So they say he committed an armed robbery. Are the cops saying the guy was firing a gun at them? Why would you fire into a car not knowing who's in the car?
Well, that's obviously a violation, Roland. Good to see you as always. Number one is make it really clear that the robbery that they alleged that Mr. Smith committed happened on April 11th. So the shooting happened on April 26th. That's 15 days apart.
Wait. Are you telling us that it's not like there was a robbery, they got a call, and they pursued the car?
Correct. That's exactly what I'm telling you. This was not they were not in pursuit of a fleeing felon or anything like that. This was a robbery that happened 2 weeks prior. This family was going on their way. They were going to get some food at a community center. The individual officers that were following them were actually plainclothes officers in an unmarked vehicle. The vehicle, according to the police themselves, that they followed them for several blocks. If they followed these individuals for several blocks, they could have clearly seen the children that were in the vehicle. And when my client, Olivia Hill, and her 4 children, who I represent, when they pulled into their parking space, she says she gets out of the vehicle. This individual walks up. She doesn't know who he is. He's not in police uniform, as I already stated. And the next thing she knows, they're shooting at the car, and they shoot over 25 times.
So 1 second. So 1 second. So when they fire into the car, was the car moving or was it stationary?
Our investigation, which is still ongoing, is that the car was stationary when they first started shooting into the car. And once they started shooting into the car moved. What we are trying to get out of the gunfire.
Okay, so
absolutely no idea what was going on.
So when the plainclothes cop walks up to your client, does he identify himself? Or you're saying he has nothing showing him a cop? Is his badge present?
Yeah, our investigation, there was no identification that they were law enforcement. We've talked to several witnesses who were on the scene. I've been to Hugo twice in the last 4 days. I've talked to people that were there when the shooting happened and people that were there shortly thereafter. And what they tell me, a totality of everyone I've spoken to, is that it appears that the car was being shot at while it was stationary, and that these individuals were in an unmarked vehicle. This vehicle did not have any identification as being law enforcement, and the two individuals, they were in plain clothes. The city said they did not have any type of body cam. We're told there's no dash cam. So all we can go on is what our clients and the witnesses are saying and what the police have said. And it looks like to me this was a unnecessary, unjustified bad shooting based on what I know right today.
Wow, that is absolutely crazy. And again, what's the latest condition of the 3 children shot?
Well, by the grace of God, they were not killed in the hail of gunfire, but they did sustain serious wounds. They were all 3 of the children that were shot had to be airlifted here to Tulsa, which is a 2.5-hour drive away. They were airlifted here and went into emergency surgery. They removed the bullet out of the brain of the 5-year-old young girl. She has a very large cut or wound on her head, which we don't know if that's going to ever really heal. Will she be disfigured for the rest of her life? She's on medication to keep the swelling of her brain down. And what the doctors are telling the family is that they have a very strong concern that she may have a lifetime issues with seizures. Obviously, we hope that doesn't happen. With the 3-year-old who was shot in the head, he still has a bullet or a fragment of a bullet in his head. It broke his skull or fractured his skull, and they were afraid to go in and try to remove the bullet because of the location of it. They thought it would be too risky. The 1-year-old who was shot in her right below her left eye, and it came out of her chin area. She's also recovering. She has a wound. It's very difficult to just look at these beautiful children and see that they have these type of injuries. They have nightmares. They're not eating. They're afraid to be alone. They're afraid to hear any type of sounds. And they all keep saying, are we going to get shot again? Why are we getting shot at? It's very, very sad.
All right, Demario Solomon Simmons, certainly.
Demario,
I'm sorry. Keep us updated what's going on, and we'll, thoughts, prayers certainly go out to that mother as she's dealing with this tragedy. Appreciate it.
I appreciate it, Roland. Thanks a lot.
All right, folks. Talk about how we deal with cops. That really was the basis of this video, where this sister in Billings, Montana, just let these 2 cops know you just cannot roll up into my house and do whatever it is that you want to do. We showed the video yesterday, and so I want to show it again before I bring her on. And so this video has gone viral. It has, last I saw, about 2.5 to 3 million views just on Twitter alone. And so check this out.
He can't do that. Thank you for recording, because he can't. You cannot come in my home. I did not give him permission.
You did not. He was.
Thank you. So no, it's an altercation.
There was no altercation.
I don't give a damn what you heard. I don't give a damn what you heard. You understand what I'm saying? No, because this is my home and this is my property, and I'm telling you to leave my home. That's what I'm telling you.
For a step outside.
There was no disturbance here.
There wasn't.
All right, folks. So then there were 2 videos that were shot. That was the first video. Okay, this was the second video that was shot by somebody else from a different position in the apartment.
He heard us talking loud because I'm a loud ass bitch. That's why. That's why. I asked you to leave my home now. Excuse me. Thank you.
Sorry, there's not a problem going on. I don't see why you
First of all,
stepping
you
in.
can't just walk in my
You know
home.
what I mean?
Yeah.
I understand what you say. You got
I know my law.
basically, but
Kevin, this man is not. He's nobody.
He is talking
I don't
as a
give a
responsible adult.
I'm talking as the person who runs this house. That's what I'm saying. I don't give a fuck about what you talk about. Shut the fuck up. Now. You shut up. I don't care what he's talking about. This is my house. I pay these bills. You crazy? I your head coming up in my house? You must be crazy coming up in here.
Sorry,
talking about you heard something. You heard me talking. I talk loud and I'm aggressive. And guess what? You did not knock on my door. There's no weapons here. There's nothing going on here. And you are violating my rights, sweetheart. Right. Now, tell me that I'm fucking wrong. You can't, because I'm not wrong. You're violating my rights. You do not come up. Shut up! Shut your mouth! You do not come up in my house. You do not come in my home without my permission. Period.
When I get called.
I don't care what you got.
Hey, I don't care.
I don't care what you got. Because guess what? If I hadn't just came in the house and smoking a cigarette, this door would have been closed and your ass would have had to knock. You do not fucking come in my house without my permission. With your white ass, and I'm black, and I'm scared of you. So guess I don't care.
Right.
I don't want to hear it.
That's
I don't want to hear it.
That's why you're screaming.
I'm screaming because
so
I'm screaming because you're in my space. This is my home. This is where my kids live. How I know you wasn't coming up here with a fucking gun? Black people killer? How do I know that? I don't. So guess what? I'm aggressive. I'm being hostile, like you guys call us, because you done came up in my home. Go get my leash from downstairs now. Like I don't know my rights. Stop playing. You got the wrong black girl on the right day, baby. What do you want? What do you want?
There's no problem.
What did I say?
There's no problem.
I got this. I got this one.
No,
What do you have? What do you want?
You guys can just walk out because there's no problem.
What do you want?
That man is the intelligent one in this house.
What do you want? Guess what? You about to walk out my home though, because I know my rights.
Yeah,
Bye.
No,
Bye. Goodbye. Goodbye. Shut your ass up, Kevin. Do what I told you to do. Goodbye. I know my rights. They cannot walk in my home. Because if this door was closed, they would have had to knock. Don't ever do that again. Thank you. I don't give a fuck. I know my rights.
All right, we're trying to get Angela Whitehead on the phone, but I want to go to my panel here. Greg, I want to start with you. We showed you the previous story, okay? Plainclothes cop walks up to this sister. She's got 4 kids in the car. They start firing. 3 struck in the head. We think about the story out of Florida where the cop was convicted. Black man, side of the road, 2 o'clock in the morning. Here he is playing in the church band. Cop, unmarked car, rolls up on the guy. Brother ends up dead. Cop lied, left and right. The reality is, I don't care who you are. If you're black, and when a cop pulls up in your rearview mirror, your reaction is not the same as white people.
It's not.
I remember a story that we did where there was a brother who was doing a survey, and he had multiple cameras around his car. And the cop walks up, and gun is already unholstered, hands on his weapon. And the brother's going, "Why is your hand on your weapon?" And what he did not know is that the brother with his particular car had like 6 cameras on the car. And so he had all these different views. Black folks, our encounters with cops lead to death a lot faster than white folks.
Absolutely. I mean, as we were watching that, we were talking, and I know Cleo got something to say about this, Dr. Monago. As a black man, every time you see those cops, man, and these guys in Montana were hunting. They were hunting. Clearly, they either traced that license plate or whatever, and they decided they're going to go after this, and they're going to empty this clip. But the point is, as you said, and there's a playbook.
No, not Montana. That was Hugo, Oklahoma.
I mean, Oklahoma.
Right.
Oklahoma.
This was in Montana.
This was Montana, okay. But thank you, the Oklahoma case. But there seems to be a playbook now. Go plain clothes, be aggressive, and get ready to empty your clip. Even when you announce yourself, Sandra Bland, Philando Castile, whip your weapon out. But as a black man, I'm looking at this, and she told that dude a couple of times, you back up, I know my rights. I'm thinking, we got to survive this. And that conflict in my spirit leads me finally to this. We just talked about the Second Amendment. Woe be the day in this country when we fully embrace that Second Amendment. When a cop knocks on the door, you see a rearview mirror, you unholster your gun. Like, boom. I'm not even about to have a conversation with a cop. I'm not saying that I would do that. My generation may not, but there's a coming generation that may embrace that Second Amendment so fully that they revoke it.
Cleo, you had the brother Kevin who was in the apartment. And the cop says to her, she wasn't paying the bills here, that essentially he was the smart one in this household because he was trying to calm the situation. And the problem for
who said he was the smart one?
No, the cop did.
Oh.
No, the cop literally says to her face, he's the smart one in this house.
I didn't hear that.
Oh, yeah, I heard it. And the thing is, we have to always be calm. I mean, I can show you some videos of white folks losing it.
Come on.
But we have to always be calm because we're trained, look, make it home alive, whatever the hell. But when you black, you pissed off, and you ain't trying to be calm when you know it's wrong, like Sandra Bland, who knew She was pulled over for the wrong reason.
That's right.
She knew it was wrong, was recording the video, and the cop threw her in jail, and she ends up dying in jail.
Well, I was thinking about Sandra Bland, but I have a nuanced perspective of this. When she was telling the male to be quiet, the male has another experience than what she has. It reminded me of when that young man in Baltimore was protesting and his mother started beating him.
Yeah.
Right.
And telling him to shut up and scolded him, and then Oprah called her, of course, and praised her for that. And I feel like this young brother was fighting against somebody who was his prototype, another young male having been murdered and resisting and being punished publicly for that. So I understood the sister standing her ground and being upset about what happened, but a lot of thoughts happened. For example, if it wasn't filmed, she might have been killed.
My goodness.
You know, because I believe that's what happened to Trayvon. I think Trayvon was being followed, like, what the?
That's right.
What are you doing?
That's exactly what happened.
And why you following me? And then he tried to walk away and get away. And then the guy kept going, and he's like, what? You know, what's going on here? And he wound up dead.
Right.
So this is a mixed situation that is saved by the videotape in this instance, even though they had the power to get rid of everything they felt like, but they backed up. Maybe she was so intimidating, they decided not to do anything beyond what they were doing. But I hadn't heard about the part about that's the smart one.
Hey, guys, just here. No, I want y'all to do that because somebody on YouTube said, I didn't hear either. I want y'all to play it in the control room. I want you to find that spot. And it's probably towards the end. And you'll hear the police officer literally say that he is the smart one in this place. So y'all, please keep that up for me. And let me know when it's ready, Malik.
That was an uncomfortable thing for me to watch, particularly because I think of the many conversations that we have with our black men, black boys about how to engage with police.
Yes.
Fortunately, she made it out alive. But there are many instances where we don't make it out alive. So again, it was very uncomfortable for me to watch. She stood her ground. Definitely.
It wasn't uncomfortable for me.
Yeah, well, it was uncomfortable.
Oh, I was happy as hell to see this sister cuss them out and let them know this is my damn apartment.
Yeah,
you can't just walk up in my apartment. And their rationale was they heard something.
Yeah. No, she seemed. I don't know how.
And here's how I understand. Even if the door is open, if you a cop,
you have to be invited in. Yeah.
Hello. Police here.
Yeah, we know all of that.
You just don't walk in the damn apartment.
But my point is that that's an uncomfortable thing to watch. And what I would not want to happen, as bad as it may sound, is that that's the approach that we decide to take when we're engaging with police. Because it may not turn out that way.
Like Roland is saying, though, and I want us all to understand, is that this is not even her response was not a planned response.
Right.
It was based on
issues
about Sandra being murdered, about Michael Brown being murdered, about Tamir Rice being murdered, about Amadou Diallo being murdered. This woman has all that going on in her mind. She called him a white police or something along those lines because that's how she saw him as a murderous predator. So it's difficult to sit in the presence of a murderous predator and have cognitive clarity and absolute calm when she said she was scared.
Yeah, but the thing is that our life depends on it, though.
But like Cleo said, I mean, we're in the 100th anniversary of Red Summer. This is 1919 Chicago, D.C. Wow. Many of the race wars that took place in this country 100 years ago this summer were precipitated by incidents where black people decided, that's it. And like you said, it's not planned. It's a moment when you say, as Claude McKay wrote in his famous poem, If We Must Die. If we must die, let us nobly die.
Come on.
In other words, you know what I'm saying? So I'm saying to myself, as a man raised in the South, whose father had that same talk, I'm saying my impulse would have been, let me just get out of this alive. But I might have looked in his face at that moment and said, this is it, brother. Now, I'm going to end you.
Here's why. First of all, I want to play, I think we have it right here, so press play. Let's see it.
Period.
When I get called...
I don't care what you got.
Hey, I don't care.
I don't care what you got. Because guess what? If I had just came in the house and smoking a cigarette, this door would have been closed and your ass would have had to knock. You do not fucking come in my house without my permission. With your white ass, and I'm black, and I'm scared of you. So guess I don't care. Right. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
That's why you're screaming.
I'm screaming because I'm screaming because you're in my space. This is my home. This is where my kids live. How I know you wasn't coming up here with a fucking gun? Black people killer? How do I know that? I don't. So guess what? I'm aggressive. I'm being hostile, like you guys call us, because you done came up in my home. Go get my leash from downstairs now. Like I don't know my rights. got the wrong black girl on the right day, baby. What do you want? What do you want?
There's no problem.
What did I say?
There's no problem.
I got this. I got this one.
No,
What do you have? What do you want?
You guys can just walk out because there's no problem here.
What do you want?
That man is the intelligent one in this house.
What do you want? Guess what? You about to walk out my home, though, because I know my
Come
mom.
back. He said that man is the intelligent one in this house.
Now, see, all I can say is that might have been enough of a trigger for any one of us to say, oh, it's about that? And then maybe he jumps on the other side. And maybe instead of this Survivor video, and I agree with you, Cleo, had it not been filmed, this may have come out differently. Maybe we're talking about a race war in my...
Or her getting thrown down, handcuffed, or whatever the hell. You name it. Now, hold up. I did find this video, so go to my iPad, please. This was a New Jersey woman. This took place. So go ahead and do this here.
You're just here as the rider, right?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm here as a concerned citizen and friend of the mayor and been in Tenafly for 20 years. I take full responsibility for them. And what is the reason they were pulled over?
The driver has all the information. He'll tell you.
No. I need to know.
No, you don't need to know.
That is my business card. I am the commissioner of the Port Authority, and I'm heading up over 4,000 police officers. Okay? So, if there's a problem, I think I have...
There's no problem.
Well, I think there's a problem.
It's an unregistered vehicle.
Okay, let's hear, why were they pulled over, first of all?
Miss.
Now, don't call me miss, I'm commissioner. Thank you. This is impacting me because I got 4 people who are coming back to my house, including people who live in New Haven attending Yale Graduate School, a PhD student.
It's more of the way you just...
Okay, now, first of all, that woman resigned. But here's the deal, okay? I remember when a friend of mine got pulled over, and she was following me, and then I'm like, where was she? Then when I circled, I came back, and the officer said, you can't come near this scene, okay? I had to, like, move back. This woman rolls up on a scene where she wasn't pulled over. I can tell you right now, if you black, that's not how that's going down. Let's go to the phone lines. Angela Whitehead joins us right now on the phone. Angela, welcome to Roland Martin Unfiltered. Angela?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. First and foremost, this video has gone crazy viral, nearly 3 million views on Twitter alone. And what we see is that you said in the video that you had just come from smoking, and then the cops, they said they heard something and just walked into your apartment?
Right. So what happened was, I don't know if they got a car or something. Me and my husband, I was getting my hair done, but we was talking extremely loud, having a discussion extremely loud, argument, however you want to, put it. And maybe somebody called or something. But what happened was he just walked into my home. I was outside smoking a cigarette, and then I walked in. I went to go sit down, and by the time I sat down, my hairdresser was like, somebody walking in your house. And I was like, what? Somebody walking in my house? So I turned around, and he was in there. The first thing he said was, what's going on up in here? They got a call about an altercation or whatever. And immediately, that's when my hairdresser started recording, and then that's when you guys saw what y'all saw.
You were not having any of it, and you made it clear that, look, you said, look.
Wait, now I can't hear you. I'm sorry.
Can you hear me? I said you made it clear you were not having any of it, and you wanted them out of your apartment.
Not at all. I'll do the same thing again.
I gotta ask, who is Kevin? Because you let Kevin know who's running this, and you don't need him interrupting you.
He wants to speak too. Kevin is actually my husband. That's my husband. The fact of the matter is, and I said it on the Joe Madison show, I'm gonna say it on here. The intent was never for me to embarrass my husband. The intent was for him to shut the hell up because, like I said, we don't have to explain ourselves in our home. If we get put over, yes, we are going to be respectful. But when you come into my home, I don't owe you no explanation. So I don't care about what he was talking about.
Now, Kevin, I love to talk to Kevin because it's very interesting because we were literally having that conversation with Cleo Managa was saying how black men and black women respond differently in that situation. Kevin, you there?
Facts. And let me say this.
Go ahead.
And I was telling my husband that Black men respond different because they more scared. Of course, we scared too, but they are more scared. They are more at risk. So, of course, they going to bow down. Of course, they, especially when somebody is getting out of a situation that, you know what I'm saying, is not best and prompt for them as far as, getting out of prison or just anything. You just don't know what's going on in people's personal life. And black men are scared of the police, period. And that's what it was. I'm not saying he was scared, but he was nervous and he didn't want no further altercation. So he was trying to tell them, that's what black men do. They want them to shut up and get off their face, so they tell them whatever they want to hear. And like I said, had we been in the car, that would have been just fine.
Right.
Had you pulled me over, that would have been just fine. But I don't owe you anything in my home. I'll pay the rent here.
If I could holler at Kevin, that'd be great. Because I think he speaks to exactly what Cleo was talking about. Is he there?
Now, I don't want to misconstrue that and make it seem like my husband don't pay no bills. Because he definitely pays bills, and he definitely runs this house. I run my mouth, he runs the house, but, it follows.
Could I holler at Kevin?
Yeah, you can. Hold on, real quick. They want to talk to you. You're excited? Hear you on live. I think it's mine. Yeah, let me get the baby.
Hello?
Hey, Kevin, Roland Martin, how you doing?
All right, how about yourself? I can barely hear you.
Can you hear me now? How's that?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So before you and Angela got on the phone, we were having our panel conversation, and Cleo Monago made a point that how black men and black women respond differently with cops, and Angela just explained it. You wanted to keep calm. You didn't want. Well, what was it for you? You didn't want this thing to escalate. Is that why you took the same position you did, and she took a different position?
Yeah, because I have to protect my wife at the end of the day, and I didn't want it to go to a certain situation. At the same time, she can speak up better than I can, so I just let her have the floor.
And obviously, because again, when we played the video, she was making it perfectly clear to you she was handling this situation, and she was not happy those cops walked in. First of all, when they walked into the apartment, were you in the living room there? Were you stunned to see them walk in?
Yeah, I was kind of stunned, but I was kind of stunned, I was just like, whoa, what's going on?
Were you scared?
And I looked up, and she was already there.
And so, well, I appreciate it, Kevin. If I can speak to Angela, that'd be great.
All right, here she is. Thank you.
I wish you would have answered the argument.
Angela, are you shocked at how this thing has gone viral? Because a lot of black folks, a lot of sisters and brothers saying that's a hero because they like how you took no stuff and how you handled the cops.
I know, baby. Hello, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I said, are you surprised how this video has gone viral and how a lot of brothers and sisters are applauding you because you did not take any stuff from these cops and you did not want them in your apartment?
I know, and you know what they said? I really appreciate it. It's been like so much love, like everybody hitting me up with so much love. I mean, got a little bit of negative, but mostly not. I mean, I really appreciate it. Shoot, like that's just Angela, not on a regular day, but that's who I am.
Well, you made it clear.
No filter.
You made it. Well, yeah, that's why you on Roland Martin Unfiltered. You made it clear in the video that you are aggressive and that's how you roll. And it's not like as many black folks in Billings, Montana. And so I'm sure folks there also know who you are as a result of this video.
Right. I went to Hardee's today, and they was like, "Are you the girl in the video?" I was like, "Oh my goodness, yes I am."
Well.
So yeah, it's been getting a lot of attention. I mean, I never thought it would do it like this. To be honest, it was Kevin's idea to put it to post it actually.
And
so
well, first of all, we appreciate Kevin posting the video. And again, it goes to show again the reality of what happens when you're a black man, a black woman in America, and how we respond when police come into our spaces uninvited.
Right. Right. It definitely does. And it's definitely a difference. And, you know, behind every strong black man is a stronger black woman, and that's me.
All right. Well, Angela Whitehead, we appreciate you joining us on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Thanks a lot.
Well, thank you so much. We appreciate you letting us get an opportunity to say our side, especially letting my husband hop on. That was a big deal for me. I appreciate that.
All right. Absolutely. I'm always looking out for the brothers.
Always, always.
I appreciate it. You take
Team
care.
Whitehead.
All right. I appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much.
Roland?
I know. Khalil, go ahead.
I remember, and I don't mean to be controversial in case that's the result, but I remember the audio in the video of Sandra Bland being quite similar to her.
Yep.
To that cop. Not taking no stuff, castrating him verbally in terms of talking about this is how you become a man and stuff like that. And I remember black men being ambiguous around because of their own reactions to her from personal experience, being apprehensive to be supportive of her. I don't know if you saw any of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I just what comes to mind is the necessity for us to have a conversation as black people to understand each other and to contextualize each other's rage, which is often misdirected. Because it was misdirected rage and unresolved perspectives of black women's justifiable rage that had some brothers in quandary about whether I should support Sandra or not, who was murdered. You understand what I'm saying? And I imagine, I haven't read any of the mail in response to, or the Twitter in response to her yet, but I bet there's some brothers going, I don't know if I want to support her because she just castrated Kevin in front of the whole world.
No. I mean, first of all, again, this is why
I'm not saying that's my perspective.
No,
I got it. Go ahead.
This is why people have to support Roland Martin Unfiltered. In addition to the fact that that's probably a commercial loop now. She is completely unfiltered. But this is the only place you're going to hear this nuanced conversation.
That's
right. Now, did you hear what Kevin said? He said, I have to protect my wife. Mm-hmm. See, when the thing went down, it was boom. First of all, you got networks going on. She's got her hair fixed. Her hairdresser's on the one, on the phone, the police coming up. But the man got caught completely off guard. You also heard her say, if it had been in the car, we could have handled it differently. And what you said,
she said, I would have handled it differently.
Listen, this is the important context. And I'm sure we've all been in this situation where we've been driving, or you see law enforcement or whatever, and black men always know where the police are. It could be 3 blocks back. I know this cat is on the left, right? And then in a car with a woman, I can't count the number of times this happened. And I said, I go to police. She'll look, don't look. Wow, because if this thing starts,
right,
I've got to finish it.
Right.
When you heard Kevin say, I've got to protect my wife, that's not fear. What that is, if these white boys come in here, now I got to die.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I guess what I'm saying is this is so complex.
And again, depending upon the scenario, because I think back to 80. So this is 1987. My brother's a freshman at Texas A&M University, and he was in the gospel choir there, and they had come from a concert in Beaumont, and they were coming through Houston. They stopped by our house. So it was probably 4 or 6 cars. Okay, so they were parked on both sides of the street in front of our house. And so a police officer is coming down the street, jumps on his speaker, how they need to clear the street. Cars parked on both sides, and the car could have got through. And his whole deal was, for emergency vehicle to be able to come through. My dad had been drinking. I think we had something in our house, whatever. My dad was pissed. So, now mind you, my parents were co-founders of the Clinton Park Civic Club. So, we had relationships with the commander of the police who's over our neighborhood. My dad calls the station. And he says, I want to know who is the cop on patrol in our neighborhood right now. When they call, ask for the commander. Put him through. My dad explained what happened. My dad said, I want the cop to come back to my house so I can have a conversation with him.
Come on.
Now, my mama freaking out. Reginald, what are you doing? What are you doing? He's like, damn that.
Right.
He said, but I'm not going to have black college students,
my goodness,
going to college, coming from a gospel concert, and this cop wants to come in front of my house and make them move their cars.
Yes.
Commander said he's on the way. The commander did not mess with my parents because they were over the Civic Club.
Shout out Reginald Martin.
The cop comes to the house, young white boy. So cop steps into the house, and he all nervous and hand on the gun. My dad said, "Why is your hand on your gun? I'm the one who called your boss. You can relax." Now my dad's sitting here so he was drinking. That does sobered real. He went straight from had a good time to I'm about to get somebody's ass.
And all y'all there watching.
And I'm sitting there like,
brother.
Now, and again, I need black folks to understand what it means when you a black son watching a black father do this.
Come on, brother.
So I'm standing there, and I'm like, what the hell? Like, this Negro is crazy. I believe this Negro alone. And so he starts breaking down the cop. He said, now, you didn't have to sit here and come through here and jump on your speaker. He said, we're not going to be here long. Well, sir, we need to be able to, for if something happened in the ambulance. He said, no. He said, no, you were flexing your power. He sat there and schooled this young white cop. And the young white cop, I'm sure he was like, who the hell is this black man that I got called to come back to his house?
Who do you think he is, a citizen?
But the thing that was interesting was, again, the fear of my mama.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And the fearlessness of my daddy and my mama thinking, same way as Kevin,
right?
I don't want nothing to happen, nothing to escalate.
Come on.
And daddy was like, damn that.
Damn that.
This is about respect.
That's right.
Right here. And I'm going to teach this young cop, he's going to respect some black folks.
That's right. That's right.
And that's really what, so that whole exchange right there.
Felt that.
That's exactly what that was. Kevin, like, the hell, the cops in my house. I got to protect my wife. She going off. I'm trying to calm the situation down because I don't want one of these white cops to go off and strike her, throw up against the wall or whatever. Because to your point,
yes, sir.
Now I got to elevate.
Now I got to, yeah, that's right. That was very powerful.
Yeah, and it's a layered discussion for sure. I'm probably more on the Kevin side because if a cop came into my home, I'm pretty sure that I would try to do everything to de-escalate it. Again, fortunately, Angela and that family made it out alive. Fortunately, it was videotaped. But there are many instances where that does not happen. And again, I want to go back to, I hope that even though we have a right to express ourselves and, we're living in this country and we should have every right that everyone else has, the reality is different. And so I just hope that this does not spur people to react now, fortunately, that was in Montana. What happens in Montana may be different than what happens in Florida.
Yeah, but see,
or any of these other
okay,
places.
all right, hold up, Malik. But this is where there comes a time and a point when you are black and you are tired of accommodating whiteness.
Power.
No, whiteness. Okay. Well, I'm about to expand this thing, okay? Because I'm about to expand this thing beyond cops. It reaches a point when you are black and you're tired of take the bass out your voice.
That's right.
You're tired of not being able to show actual anger in the workplace because it's a white woman.
Come on.
And, you can't cuss a white woman out.
Come on, bro.
You're tired of, I got to wear a suit. The story that I read, brothers who wear suits in New York and they carry the Wall Street Journal around. So if somebody white sees them with the Wall Street Journal, then they go, he's one of them or one of us. He's not a threat.
That's right.
There comes a time and a point where you are black. You are tired of accommodating whiteness.
That's right.
Where you're tired of making them feel good. And you're tired of having to pull yourself back and change your hair and change your dress and change your tone when, if you were white, Angela's reaction actually is natural.
And I would go so far even to include today, man. There comes a time when you're a Latino, you're a Puerto Rican, and you're not going to the White House to shake this racist hand who's saying your people didn't die. And you black, which means you're Afro-Anglo, you associate with them. There comes a time when I'm just not going to go there. Because you know that if you go past that tripwire, brother, all bets are off. There are 800,000 people or so in Montana. Only a couple of thousand of them are people of African descent. And so, but there comes a time when you have to say, that's it. You sound like Martin Luther King, man. Remember that speech Dr. King said, when there comes a time
Right. I mean, like for instance, because I'm gonna bring this thing because you mentioned the Boston Red Sox.
Yeah.
Here we go to my iPad. This is video from the White House feed. The Boston Red Sox. First of all, the White House couldn't even spell. They said Boston Red SOCKS and not SOX. But it was more like the Boston White Sox. Because here you have the manager who's Puerto Rican. The black ball players, Latino ball players saying, no, I'm not going. Yet 100% of the white ball players said, we're going to be there.
Including the white Cuban, J.D. Martinez. I'm giving him to that.
Right. There you go. Tom Warner, who's the owner, he says, well, this thing wasn't about race. But the reality is, it shows how we see this thing differently. And it raises the question in the case here of why the white ball players afraid to stand with their manager and the black ball players who say something is foul here. Just like when you had Chris Long, one of the few NFL players who stood with Colin Kaepernick and Malcolm Jenkins and whatever, and so what it says is that, oh yeah, we are teammate up to a point.
I want to know.
We're tight up to a point.
Roland, I want to know the next time that Chris Sale hits somebody and they all run out to start the fight, I want to know whether them brothers going to run out there and protect him. What kind of teammate are you to go shake this man's hand? And then you expect to go to sports war in August in a pennant race. Man, get out of my face.
Most of the NFL, since we're talking about sports, not my favorite topic, but comes up a lot. So we're talking about the NFL.
Well, in this case, baseball. But go ahead.
Okay, well, sports. Most of these sports consist of predominantly black males pushing the balls and hitting the balls and doing stuff with balls.
Except baseball is predominantly white.
Okay, all right. Well, see, I didn't know. But the point I'm trying to make is this. In the case of Kaepernick, most of the football players did not step up, right?
Oh, yeah, it's very true.
Most of the black
period.
players. And the point that came to my mind when you were talking, Roland, is that, and this is clear from my perspective in terms of how you've come out as somebody who's self-actualized, who has a critical analysis, who is clear about black phenomena and can also articulate it, deconstruct it, and articulate it. Most, from my studies in cross-country travels and engagements of black audiences, that's not the story. That's not everybody black's story.
Oh, very true.
There's not a black father who knows whoever that was.
First of all, I scare black people.
Well.
No. Let's just be clear.
Well,
no. When I was at CNN, the Negroes at CNN.
No doubt. Oh, no doubt.
No, let me be real clear.
Yes, sir.
They were, and y'all know who y'all are.
Unfiltered.
Don't let me start doing roll call.
Oh, no doubt.
They would tell the black people, I don't know, Roland's radical. And it was a sister who was saying, she said, oh, you don't understand. That brother's taking arrows for your ass. You don't even run. No.
How about that?
He's fighting fights that's benefiting your behind, and you don't even know. Folks right now with primetime hosting jobs.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Again,
they eating
because you took arrows.
That's right.
Look, I ain't even realized this. I never even realized this. But that was a sister who worked there. She told me, she said, Roland, she said, in fact, she said, prior to you, if you were black, the only way you got hired to be a commentator at any of these networks is you had to be like a Donna Brazile, who was a campaign manager. She said, Roland, your success at CNN literally opened the door for all of these non-traditional black folks to get hired at CNN, at Fox, at MSNBC. She said, they didn't exist before you. And I was like, whoa. But then she said, but your blackness, you did not put your blackness on the shelf to accommodate whiteness, she said, which made it possible for the folks to come in with braids. For the folks to come in with blackness. And so to your point,
I'm talking
to your point, when you to your point, somebody has to be willingness to be black and bold and beautiful and say, I can't accommodate whiteness anymore. I'ma do me. And I'ma take the stuff that comes with it. And I might not get the primetime show. I might not get the weekend show. But somebody has got to be able to say what needs to be said. And that's why, and that's what I'm saying. So there's a lot of black folks in corporate America, same way. They scared, but it requires a level of unapologetic blackness to say, no, I'm not doing it. Go ahead.
And to have that transformation from disorientation and confusion around what to do to clarity, the teacher has to understand how to be in the position of a lack of clarity, to walk them into clarity. That's the point I want to make.
That's it.
And you also are right in that, for me, having a strong black father and a strong black mother, and I identify, and my mama sometimes get upset because she's like, yo, talk about your daddy, but there's a reason why I identify with that, because Dad's 72, just turned 72 April 25th. I identify with strong black maleness, and it ain't, come to me, and it ain't toxic masculinity, and it ain't hyper-masculine.
No.
What it is black maleness as unapologetic.
That's right. That's
Okay,
right.
now Roland.
That's right.
Most people who know me in my neck of the woods know that I'm unapologetic.
That's right.
Not a white accommodationist.
No.
And real clear that your story, though it wasn't at CNN, is quite similar to me in terms of affect. But what might be a difference is that, we haven't talked about this, that's why I say what might be. I have met tons of confused, disoriented, accommodating black people who, on the unconscious basis where their common sense was trying to get out, was hungry to be powerful, but thought assimilation was how you get power. And copying white people is copying power, so therefore you're powerful. But that's not true. But my point is that it was because I understood how to understand where they were that I was able to guide lots of people from confusion into clarity and self-love, instead of them being worried about, which is what they were worried about, Roland, is offending white people.
Precisely.
That is our concern. And I'm talking about babies and children, because they don't have a critical analysis. Your daddy and your mama, they did an example, whether it was direct or indirect, of you actually witnessing critical analysis, power, and not taking no stuff.
Right.
We, and I'm gonna close with this because this is so important.
Go ahead.
We have to start not getting mad at people for being clueless, because no one chooses to be clueless. It is a consequence of clueless guardianship. Not them saying, I'm going to be clueless on Thursday because I don't got anything else to do. They don't even know the language of power.
Right.
We have to teach them with respect, love, consideration, and methodology to go from that place to this place. And we have to understand, or let them know that we understand where they are.
Greg,
how they got
and Malik, and we're going to close it out.
Very quickly, in the spirit of what you said, Dr. Monago, let me put the Boston White Sox into their framework so everybody can analyze.
Y'all heard Boston White Sox.
Yeah, Boston White Sox. Okay, the last team to sign a black.
Real White Sox is Chicago White Sox. Boston Red Sox.
No question.
But just so y'all know, he said Boston White Sox for a reason.
The reason they were there today was not present. Those were those non-white ball players. The last team in white Major League Baseball to sign a black free agent in the 1990s, the team that hung their entire reputation as they lost for almost a century on their hero ball player, Ted Williams, whose mother was Mexican, who stood at the Hall of Fame induction and said, you got to let these Negro League ball players in. Why? Because Ted Williams was not white. And who never won a championship again until they imported all those Afro-Latino ball players, from Big Papi David Ortiz to the man whose number they would not give that racist today, and that was Pedro Martinez, who wore number 1 from the Dominican Republic for the Boston White Sox, and they didn't give him a jersey with number 1 on it today. Why? Because that number's been retired in Boston, because that black man brought them a championship. They gave him an 18 instead. The Boston White Sox, most racist team in Major League Baseball, embarrassed themselves today, but y'all don't talk about them being white. Why? Because if it weren't for the blacks, they wouldn't have no damn championship to begin with.
And before I go to Malik, the last baseball team in Major League Baseball to sign a black baseball player, Jackie Robinson came in 1947, was the Boston Red Sox.
Come on.
In 1959. They were the last Major League Baseball team to sign a black ball player. Malik, your final thoughts on today's show?
Yeah, I just have 2 points. One, I don't think it's fair to judge the players who decided to go to the White House, to really judge them negatively. Well, it's and I would say,
go ahead, finish your point.
And
Go
I would
ahead.
say the same thing for people if they chose not to go visit Obama. So I'm consistent with that. Secondly, I don't think that it's fair. And if we're going to talk about,
just be factual. only a handful didn't visit
whether-
with Obama.
whether it's-
not massive
whether it
numbers
was a,
like
whether it
Trump.
was a
But go ahead,
handful
go ahead.
or not.
I just want, just for a fact. Go ahead.
If we're going to have an open conversation, if we're going to have a layered conversation, I think it's also important to acknowledge that no one owns blackness. So I get told a lot that I cannot be black. I cannot be black and woke and support Donald Trump. I reject it because you can't tell me how to think. You can't tell me how to think. You can't tell me what.
A C conversation that we did A and B earlier.
Well, I'm just. But my point. But my point is that if we're going to have a conversation, then that requires people on the other side to understand and not tie my blackness to who it is that I choose to support as president or any politician, because that does nothing to move us forward to any larger, more prominent place. It just keeps us divided.
I don't know.
No, wait. So this is very simple for me. When we have these conversations, right, it's not a question of blackness. It's a simple question of black concerns. So, for instance, those of you who saw the Skip Gates Reconstruction documentary, that was a black man in Mississippi who voted to strip black people of their voting rights because he was benefiting from white largesse. There have been black people who have made decisions that have gone against significant number of black people for their own reasons. Are they black? Yes.
Biologically.
They are. But the question, so when you say question blackness, what I can do is question somebody's black and their intent. What I can do is question, but simply by stating facts as it relates to the position. So I dare say this. If you are supporting somebody who does not truly support the policies that are affecting more than one black person, when you have a Department of Education that's rescinding civil rights rules that impacts black kids, when a Department of Education that rescinds the rules when it comes to suspensions that predominantly impact black kids, when you have a Department of Justice that has reintroduced private prisons on the federal level, when you have a Department of Justice under Jeff Sessions, continued under Bill Barr, that says that they are going to pursue the highest charges possible, when you have an administration that consistently is targeting black folks when it comes to voter suppression, then I dare say if you are black and then you are still supporting that same person, then that means you need a mirror. I'm not questioning your blackness. I'm questioning whether or not you fully see what this person is doing to black people.
But it assumes that I can't think for myself.
No, that's not what I said. But hold up, Malik. Nowhere in what I just said that you cannot think for yourself.
Right.
What I did say is that being black and supporting an individual who is doing all those things that I mentioned that has a negative effect on a significant number of black people requires a mirror.
Can I ask Malik a question?
Sure. And I'm gonna do this. I know we're over time, and so I'm gonna just go for 5 more minutes because I know I got folks who are being paid who got to go. I know it's good, but go ahead.
We're going to do this some more because this is nuanced. During Trump's State of the Union, when did black people come up in visual and literal terms?
I'm not sure.
Did you see it?
No, I didn't.
You didn't watch the State of the Union? Okay. Well, that's too bad because you didn't see the point I'm going to make. Black people did not come up until he talked about felons.
Yeah. But that's
Let me finish. He did this whole thing. He paid tribute to soldiers who were in Germany and even people who were in Auschwitz and blah, 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 blah. And black people were nowhere in very specific terms in that whole discussion until near the part of talking about felons.
First troops into Auschwitz, by the way.
I'm real clear about how Africans help. I'm personally clear about it.
No, to your point.
Yeah.
Not a mention.
But a lot of people don't know that point. That Africans.
And he had an opportunity there to say that.
But he wasn't interested because he's a white supremacist and
Exactly.
racist, which is part
To your point. That's what I'm saying.
and that's
Go
part
ahead.
of Roland's
Go ahead.
point too.
To your point.
So that, for example, along with everything that Roland mentioned, I figured that you probably saw the State of the Union because you're a fan of Trump, but you didn't. But the bottom line is the things they keep doing keep defacing, demoralizing, and destroying and negatively affecting black lives. So for a black person to support that sounds like I don't question people's blackness, I question their mental health. and their emotional state.
I'm not
go ahead.
I'm not mentally.
Malik,
now,
go
see,
ahead with your point.
But
There's no time to get into that.
that goes back to my point. You just insulted me by saying that I have assuming that I have some type of mental deficiency, and I don't. I am able to walk and chew gum at the same time. The things that people complain about as far as this administration are things that they have complained about under any Republican administration. The idea that somehow Donald Trump or black people were more impartial with you will, with the Republican Party.
Why would that be the case?
Why would
would the complaints be consistent across GOP administrations?
Yeah,
particularly
what
since
does
the
that say?
1970s?
Hold up, right.
Exactly.
If you just say it, and the complaints are consistent with any Republican president,
yes.
What does that say about the Republican Party and black people?
Well, clearly there's a bad relationship between the two. There's almost, in a sense, a toxic relationship between the two. Black people support, I think, Republicans by about 9-1, at least as far as president. So when you have about 90 or so percent of
black people support Republicans 1-9.
Well, yeah, 1-9. Sorry. But when you talking about a situation where black people, 90+% black people during the presidential election cycles vote Republican, obviously there's a problem there. But what you shouldn't do is then say that those of us who actually are not part of that 90%, there's something inherently wrong with us for actually supporting that. That does nothing to move a conversation forward. It has nothing to move a conversation forward, and this is something that I hear all the time.
I got 2 minutes, go.
All the time for people who look like me.
I have not called you mentally ill.
But I support Donald Trump.
Let me finish, but I gave an analysis.
Yeah.
What I'm apologizing for is a lack of time to back up and unlayer that analysis.
Well, I disagree with your analysis because it's insulting. Because the words that came out of your mouth were insulting. And that's my point. We can go roll on the South Side on any day, and we can see what people like me deal with in my community. We can do that on any day of the week.
I don't know what the point of that is.
Well, the point is that somebody was just shot in my community. Y'all talking about Donald Trump.
Actually,
at the federal level.
No, actually.
Less than 2 minutes from my doorstep, somebody was shot on Saturday.
And
less than 5 minutes from my house, a 14-year-old kid was shot at Giant.
Right.
You want me to be angry with the Republican Party?
Or not
be supportive of the Republican Party?
Let me be real clear. Let me be real clear. First of all, one can be angry with those shootings. One can be angry with Hugo, Oklahoma. One can be angry with Billings, Montana, and one can be angry with Donald Trump, all at the very same time.
I agree.
The point is, this is very simple. What we are dealing with in America right now in 2019, on this day, May 9th, 2019, is the reality of whiteness. We're dealing with what has been the case for America for the last 400 years. This is called the Year of Return. In August, we will deal with the 21st odd Africans arriving in Virginia in 1619. We're dealing with the fact that America still has not come to grips with the issue of race. We're still dealing with the fact that whether we talk about police departments, political parties, whether we talk about what's happening in the business community, we're dealing with that. We're dealing with me coming here today looking about this unbelievable movie called Fast Color, which tells a story of 3 black women with superhero powers there to protect themselves, and yet Lionsgate, the company that put the film out, had all white male marketers who said, we have no idea how to market this film to an audience. The movie was about 3 black women who are superheroes. That's an easy marketing job. And you might ask yourself, I'm not understanding. Lionsgate, yes, the same company that owns Stars that puts out Power. Lionsgate, the same company that actually distributed Tyler Perry films. The same company that somehow knows how to reach black people but could not figure out how a movie directed by a white woman starring Gugu Mbatha Raw and Lorraine Toussaint, they somehow couldn't figure out how to market the film. The movie was in 25 theaters in April, did $60,000 in revenue, got a huge score, 70 plus on Cinema Plus, and also Rotten Tomatoes, and 89% on Google. And they couldn't figure out in 2019 how to market it to black people. And this is after Black Panther. I'm laying all of this out for you is because we're still dealing with whiteness in America. And that notion of whiteness, that notion of superiority, that notion goes back to what I said earlier, how we have to change who we are and what we are to make them feel good, which is why when we discuss the issue of race, we have to say, hasn't things gotten so much better? Because we have to make them feel better. All I'm saying, y'all, is y'all out there, and I've been seeing y'all post, and some of y'all like, oh man, We also need this to go longer, which is why you got to support it.
There it is. No, there it is.
Because, no, let me help y'all.
There it is.
Because
Come on, bro.
You can't tell me that if Roland Martin was white and created this show, you would not have folks lining up, throwing major dollars at it.
That's right.
If I was attracting 6 to 10 million largely white viewers.
Come on now.
This goes to the valuation in America.
That's right.
Which is why the white woman who was killed in Minnesota, her family got $20 million. And you can't show me a single case where African Americans been gunned down by a cop and they got $20 million.
That's right.
Philando Castile's mom didn't get $20 million.
No.
Sandra Bland's family didn't. I'm connecting all of these dots because what I'm trying to get you to understand is that the value of blackness is not as high in the eyes of white America. It was when we were on the slave block. But the value is not the same, which means that for Angela Whitehead, what she was saying is, my house, I value my space. Sandra Bland was, I value my space. My dad was saying, I value my son and my space. And I'm trying to get y'all to understand that we have to value our space in order for us to change the paradigm and to have a real shift. That's it for today. If you want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered, go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Join our Bring the Funk fan club. And if you needed any other reason to understand why you must support this, all you got to do is watch this restream and look at the last 1 hour and 19 minutes. Holla. You want to check out Roland Martin Unfiltered? YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. See that name right there? Roland Martin Unfiltered. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And don't forget to turn on your notifications so when we go live, you'll know it. Hey fam, want to check out Roland Martin Unfiltered, the blackest show on all of digital, cable, and broadcast. Check out our audio podcast. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. Press play. You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. As Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You want to check out Roland Martin Unfiltered? YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. See that name right there? Roland Martin Unfiltered. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And don't forget to turn on your notifications so when we go live, you'll know it. Hey fam, want to check out Roland Martin Unfiltered? The blackest show on all of digital, cable, and broadcast. Check out our audio podcast. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. Press play. You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com.
Bye.